that we are no longer campaigning, but we are in fact in government. And tonight we are here to share with the citizens what we have done in only 2 months and what we intend to do for the next 58 plus months. And it's amazing that in that short space of 2 months, we as a government have already demonstrated that we are not about all talk and rhetoric. No. We have demonstrated from the very first sitting of Parliament that we are keeping our promises. And in the very first sitting of Parliament, we are happy, and I am proud to be part of the government that will have passed 2 important pieces of legislation. The Children Life Fund and the repeal of the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority Act clearly demonstrated that this government, under the leadership of the Honorable Contractor, we are here to govern, not for 1 term, but for many terms to come. Tonight, I welcome you. I welcome you to this historic meeting. Historic for more than one reason. Historic because there are those who will feel that's something actually coming just now. Because the campaign is still no. Historic because this is the first time, the very first time that a government will demonstrate that within the first 100 days that we have returned to the people to show the people that we care about people. Historic because we are here under the leadership of the only political leader in our history who would have been in opposition after being a prime minister and returned to being a prime minister in this country. Historic because for the first time we have a UNC government that can clearly say that we have Point Fortin, we have San Fernando West, but more selfishly, we have La Brea. And so, tonight is historic for many reasons. As we get into the night, you are going to be greeted by various speakers. You will hear from political leaders, deputy political leaders of the party, sorry. You will hear from our deputy political leader, Minister Jolly John. You will hear from the lion himself, Mr. Mulila. You will hear from the ever-vibrant young upcoming Minister Saddam Hussein. You will hear from the Minister of Education, Minister Daulat. And you will hear from Minister of Health, Minister Lakamodo. And if that was not good enough, you're going to hear from the Honorable Contractor, Prime Minister of Tanzania. So let me, at this point in time, introduce to you our very first speaker. As you know, many of our children will have just completed and got results for SEA. And so I want to introduce as our first speaker a gentleman who is the current Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, decisively defeated and beaten the losing Pierre candidate for Sabari, a retired principal of Northern College, retired in 2021. He also served as principal of Ari High School for 5 years, and of course 15 years at Northern College. And I also want to say and add at Higher School taught me as well. He is also a part-time lecturer at the School of Education in UWI St. Augustine. He has served as chairman of the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. He also holds a BSc in Chemistry and Biochemistry, a Diploma in Education, a Master's in Education, a Doctor of Philosophy in Education, and is a Fellow of the Association of Business Executives of London. In short, Kamala Harris selected people who know what they're doing and who know what they're about. Let me put our hands together and welcome to this microphone the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Michael Douglas. Let's do a stand.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, especially to our Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Let's hear it for her. This is her constituency. Good evening to all our colleagues, parliamentary colleagues, to all of you who are gathered here. I want to say to you that I'm a proud son of the soil. I am a servant of the people. And I believe in better. I believe in better schools, in better opportunities, in a better digital future for every child, from Cedras to Charlottesville. Under the leadership of our Prime Minister and the UNC, we are creating real change. So tonight, I'm here to share with you that help is not just on the way, it has already arrived with the government of Kamala Persad-Bissessar. So we're not just talking education, we are talking about transforming it. We are about fixing what we found that was broken. So let us begin with the facts. When we returned to government, we inherited nothing short of a disaster in education. We found over 279 schools were left in a state of disrepair, leaking roofs, termite beams, broken water tanks, collapsing classrooms. And let us not forget, there were 93 schools that were abandoned. Those schools were started under the UNC government between 2010 and 2015. And over 1.2 billion was already spent on with those contractors working. And those projects, those 93 projects, were deliberately abandoned by the PNM. And some of those schools were already over 90% completed. Right here in Clark Road, we have the abandoned Shiva Boys Hindu College, over 85% completed. And so that's not just poor governance, that was sabotage of our nation's youth. And so, as the present government, we are rebuilding with purpose. Our vocation repair program has started. We came to rebuild what was abandoned. So we have expanded our vocation repair program. We are acting urgently. So in this upcoming week, we have secured an additional 83 million through our midterm review, funds that we have identified to carry on the rebuilding and repairs for the new academic year. So ladies and gentlemen, we are making every effort to complete these repairs so that every child will have an opportunity to continue their education come September. This government is not in the business of excuses. We are in the business of solutions. Our Prime Minister has told us, boots on the ground, and so we are there. And so we are restoring digital justice, laptops. And so while we are restoring the buildings, we are also closing that digital divide. I am proud to announce the relaunch of what our Prime Minister started in 2010-2015. One laptop per child initiative, starting from for one student across every secondary school in Trinidad and Tobago. The PNM scrapped that program with no clear backup plan. Example, when COVID struck, thousands of students were left lacking that opportunity to learn. So let me be very clear. This is not a rerun of the old policy. This is a digital revolution. We are in the process of procuring 18,000 laptops, not with minimum specs, but with high-performance specifications that can run learning platforms, productivity tools, and AI-powered applications. Our laptops will be AI-ready. These are not hand-me-down devices. They are future-ready machines that will empower students to compete globally. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the listening audience, when we compared what the PNM plans were, they were just ordering 5,000 laptops that were suitable for 21st century learning. But our policy is backed by purpose. Every single device will include accessibility features. And we are having the devices especially for students who are visually and hearing impaired. Every Form 1 student will receive the same device, ensuring equity and fairness. Our teachers are being trained. So far, over the last month, we have trained 12,650 teachers with the AI tools, preparing them to teach in the classrooms. So we are building resilience. So if any disruption comes, again, learning will continue seamlessly through our digital programs. And so tonight, on behalf of the government of Trinidad and Tobago and our Prime Minister, I want to say publicly, thank you to the government of India for their generous donation of 2,000 laptops, a contribution that reflects global recognition that our government is committed to education and digital transformation. So this initiative forms part of the UNC's broader initiative, strategic objectives for education over the next 5 years. At the center of that strategy, our children and our parents. Our children and parents must no longer be treated as accessories. They are the heart of our education program. And so, one of our most significant plans, and we are preparing right now in the ministry, is to roll out a universal screening program for all children between the ages of 4 to 6 years old. And this will identify their learning difficulties, those who are developmentally challenged. It will identify their emotional needs. And we are not waiting for the children to fail. We are ensuring that we are diagnosing their issues up front. And so we are also targeting our parents. A national parent training and support program is being developed. We are empowering our parents to create an empowered child. No parent could feel left out of their child's educational journey. And also, we are moving quickly to fill all those vacancies of principals, vice principals, and teachers. And so, our plan, at the center of it, is justice. Justice for every child who had to fail before they got help. Justice for every parent who couldn't afford a device. So friends, this is not about handouts. This is about fairness. This is about justice. And so, as the UNC government, we believe that every child deserves a device. We believe that every school should be safe and secure. We believe that every parent should be supported. We believe that every teacher deserves empowerment. So as I close, I want the records to show. In summary, we have reopened the laptop program with devices that work. We are investing in school repairs, not just press releases. We are training thousands of teachers. What did the PNM do? They left schools half-built. They ended the laptop program. They ignored school leadership. They underfunded school operations. And they underfunded. They made an excuse for everything. And the UNC is taking a difference. Education is not a sideline issue for us. It is at the forefront of our national transformation. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the UNC way. Continue to every God continue to bless our Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bissessa. May God bless every child in this beautiful republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Minister Daulat. Clearly, we have a Prime Minister that not only demonstrates through her words, but through her actions that she cares and loves our children with all her heart and all her being. Thank you, Minister Daulat, for the work you're doing in the Ministry of Education. Thank you for that report. And just to correct myself, I forget we're not campaigning. This is not the Monday Night Forum. This is the Monday Night Report. So we are reporting to the people what it is we are doing and what we intend to do. Yes? And you know, sometimes in government, there'll be little mistakes and little faux pas along the way. But at the heart of everything we do is always the people for the benefit of Trinidad and Tobago. That's at the heart of everything we do. And I just want to take this opportunity to, on my own behalf, on behalf of the government, to wish all of the students who recently got their SC results all successes into their new endeavors as they embark on this new phase in their lives. And for those who didn't make it, we say to you, push on, have faith, hold strong, keep working and keep working hard, and you will succeed. Our next speaker, a gentleman who has served as an MP since 2015. He is currently the Member of Parliament for Oropuch West. Born and raised in Avocat Village, he has specialized in obstetrics and gynecology in Jamaica and the United Kingdom, where he studied and he practiced at the San Fernando General Hospital for 20 years. He was chairman of the Southwest Regional Health Authority from October 2010 to August 2015. In that position, he oversaw the state-of-the-art teaching hospital and the Couva Children's Hospital. I'm sure you're going to tell you more about that later on. Under his leadership, he also saw the opening of the new and upgraded existing health centers and extended opening hours at health centers, among many other achievements. Put your hands together and welcome to the microphone, Minister of Health, Member of Parliament for Oropuch West, Dr. Lakram Bodo.
Never let your problems get you down. Good evening, Pinal. Good evening, Siparia. The Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SC, MP, Member of Parliament for Siparia, in whose constituency we are, my fellow speakers on the platform, Cabinet Ministers and MPs, Senators, local government reps, UNC membership and supporters, listening and viewing public, members of the media. The last time I was here on the UNC platform, I was here to ask for your vote to go into government. So we are in government, and I want to say thank you. Thank you to the people of Oropuch West who I know here tonight. And I want to say a very special thank you to the Prime Minister for allowing me to be your Minister of Health. So I am here tonight, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, to account to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, who put us here, on what your government has done in the health sector in its first 2 months in office. Made some promises in the health sector. And I have in front of me here something called a manifesto, and I'm going to come back to why this is called a manifesto in a few minutes, and not a manifesto. But the point about it is that the promises that was made on the platform, and now that we're in government, we have started to deliver. But before I go there, I have to say that what we met in the health sector was, we met a health sector that was in poor shape, on the verge of collapse, needing intensive care. This is despite the fact that over $60 billion was injected by the last PNM administration into the Ministry of Health. Why was this? Because we must know what was wrong before we can fix it. It was because of poor leadership at the highest level. That has been fixed, my brothers and sisters, by this incumbent government. Incompetent management, wastage, and what I call misprioritization of spending. The barrage of complaints from patients, staff, and other stakeholders over the years were justified. These complaints were real. We found this out after 2 months in there. In fact, after 1 week, 2 weeks, we found this out. There are long waiting times. There are long waiting times for service in accident and emergency departments, long waiting times for clinic appointments, long waiting times for investigations, long waiting times for surgeries. In fact, we found out that there are 587 doctors who have applied to the RHAs for employment and are still waiting to get a job. On my way here, I got a request from someone who had applied to the RHA to be a nurse for 2 years and is still to get a response. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to fix. But the good news is that the resuscitation of the health sector has begun. The implementation of timely care and appropriate resources in our hospitals and health centers is being started. The restoration of good governance and accountability in the health sector will be returned with the imminent appointment of the RHA boards, which I believe are soon to be appointed, and I want to put those boards on notice that for each board, I have a folder, the stick of the complaints that have come to me as the Minister of Health in the past 2 months. Now, the mid-year budget review saw the Ministry of Health asking for 7 that we inherited, and of course, as a responsible government and a caring government, we decided that we would make the effort to pay those suppliers who supplies goods and services. Part of this, half of this was to pay NIPDEC, that was owing for drugs, and of course, the drugs are important. We had to pay the suppliers to ensure the continuity of drugs and supplies. And the other half, the other part was to pay the RHAs. And what we found out in this $350+ million that was allocated to pay the RHAs, what I would call frivolous projects, instead of fixing the things that needed to be improved. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us leave that there and let us go on. Let me go on to tell you what we have done. Now, this here is the manifesto that we produced to you and we shared with you on the platform. Now, I always wondered why this was called a manifesto, because when I look in here, I see 51 projects. But under the leadership of this Prime Minister, we've almost completed half of these projects. We're well on our way. We're well on our way, ladies and gentlemen, to finishing this thing in 1 year. So this has to be a manifesto, Minister Munilal, because I expect at the end of the first year in government, we'll have another manifesto coming out. So let me take you to some of those projects. What have we achieved in the health sector so far? Of course, one of the first acts, in fact, the first act of Parliament under this new government was the Children's Life Fund Act amendment. This was very important. This was a dream of the Prime Minister, a promise of the Prime Minister. So said, so done. And of course, just to emphasize the new benefits that are going to come to the Children's Life Fund, there are two main benefits. One, it will allow the foreign surgeons to be able to come to Trinidad and perform the surgery here, so it will be more cost effective in some cases. And the other, of course, is that we found over the period of time that the Children's Life Fund was in existence, that many applications were denied, and the new amendments allows the Minister of Health the power to at least review these denials. The second delivery was the extension of extended hours at 6 additional health centers. Ladies and gentlemen, when we left government in 2015, we left 41 over 40 health centers, 41 plus health centers with extended hours. Do you know, when we returned to government in 2025, we found only 6 of these health centers working at extended hours. But more than that, ladies and gentlemen, we found that these health centers were located in cities where we found them. Diego Martin, Woodbrook, San Juan, Aruca, La Joqueta, St. Helena. We have no problem with that, ladies and gentlemen. We kept them because we are a government for all of the people. But because we are a government for all the people, we have added extended hours at Pinal, Maruga, right here in Pinal, the first one right here in Pinal, Maruga, Cedras, Comoto, Beach, and Valencia. So we now have 12 of our health centers on extended hours during the week from 4 to 8 p.m. and of course on Saturdays. The other important initiative that we would have done would have been the C-DAP review. We promised to review C-DAP. I am pleased to report that report of the review of C-DAP is before the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, and we are hoping that very soon we will be able to announce to the public what the upgrades are, but it is envisioned that we'll have additional medications, and of course we will add some new medications, upgrade the current medications, and so on. But one of the most important things that we're hoping will come out of the recommendations is that the $68,000 that pharmacies are now required to pay to get the C-DAP software and hardware is going to be reduced, and that will allow more pharmacies to be able to participate in the C-DAP program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also very much aware of the rainy season coming, and we took the precaution. Ladies and gentlemen,
could I ask those on the outside aisle to please clear the aisle, please, as we make room for the arrival of the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Could I ask you to please clear the aisles on the outside, please? The outside aisle, those in the aisles and in the aisle, please clear the aisles.
Everybody wins. Everybody's a winner. When UNC wins, Trinidad wins. For UNC, everybody wins. Everybody wins. Put your X next to the rising sun. Tell the neighbor, tell a friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell the mother, tell the father, it's time to design. If you want leaders who can build, place your X by the rising sun. If you want leaders who can lead properly, place your X by the rising sun. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinidad wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. For the past 10 years, you know we hold it here. Now the whole place turning at the proper state. It's only a ship under the ballast here. Now the UNC come here to save the day. So remember when election come, put your X by the rising sun. Because I win for UNC. It's a win for TNT. Election day, vote UNC. One love, one team. One hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team. One hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinidad wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
our first female Prime Minister. Welcome to our beloved Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us, with a lusty round of applause, welcome the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Let us welcome the embodiment of poise, the embodiment of elegance, the embodiment of excellence. Let us welcome our true and real mother of this nation, our Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar. And let me put on my union hat and let me do some representation for Dr. Bodo. He in fact had 4 minutes remaining. Even though the time I say in 1:39, he had 4 minutes remaining. So Dr. Bodo, you're still on a timer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman. So let us give it up for the Member of Parliament for Siparia, your MP and your Prime Minister. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was sharing with you some of the many achievements and indicating that the manifesto may not have enough to deliver Prime Minister for the rest of this year. So we spoke about the Children's Life Fund, of course, and I went on to mention about the C-DAP, the review of the C-DAP, which is before the Cabinet, and we are hoping that we will have some improvements there. So, of course, the issue of the waiting list initiatives, we are working with the team to deal with the backlog of surgeries in the nation's hospitals. And of course, with the upcoming rainy season, we are very much aware that dengue is something to be dealt with. And we have taken the precautions to visit the Insect Vector Control Division. And I want to recognize the Minister in the Ministry of Health who has been ably assisting me, the Member of Parliament for Caroni East, Dr. Richard Sicharan, And of course, we're taking the precautions to ensure that all the resources that the Insect Vector Control Division will need to fight the mosquitoes, we've taken that precaution. There are many other issues, of course, including preparation for bringing the Couva Children's Hospital back on stream. And of course, things are already in place for the promised cat lab at the San Fernando General Hospital that we'll speak about as we go forward. Of course, also on the agenda is a review of the National Drug Formulary. But ladies and gentlemen, I believe that one of the most important things that would have happened to the health sector after only 2 months would have happened because of our Prime Minister's invitation to Prime Minister Modi. And you would have seen on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, a very successful visit of Prime Minister Modi that would have brought tremendous benefits to our health sector. Most importantly is the signing of the MOU with India to accept the Indian pharmacopoeia. What that means is that we will now be able to access a lot more drugs at a more affordable price, which means that the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago will benefit in a very big way. So I think that is a very historic, very important move, and we have to thank and commend our Prime Minister for making sure that this happened. Of course, we also have donations of 20 dialysis chairs, which is going to enhance our in-house capacity, and the donation of 2C ambulances, which will help in terms of transporting our patients from the remote areas. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I just want to say that the promises that Kamala Prasad Bisesa made on the platform were not election gimmicks. They were real. They were things intended to make your lives better. Delivery has now begun, and I don't mean delivery of babies. That was my past profession. I meant delivery from this government led by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and there is much more to come, I promise you. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Bodo. And look at that. In 2 short months, the passage of the amendment of the Children Life Fund, the repeal of the TTRA, the amendment of the Prime Minister's Pension Act. Don't forget that. And the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to Trinidad and Tobago in 2 short months. And you know what? You know, because of the kind of successes we've had in 2 short months, you know, they always find some way to make it theirs. They always find some way to make it theirs. Or Prime Minister Modi had signed an MOU with the previous government before that. I hear now, nonsense. If it wasn't for Kamala Prasad Bisesa and her leadership and her victory, he would not have been here. So thank you, Prime Minister, for what you have done for all of us in 2 short months. You could just imagine what the next 58 months have in it. Like 2 months, I talk about the 2 months. But I want to ask our supporters, because I know some of you are getting a little bit restless and agitated. I want to ask some of our supporters, hold some strain. We suffer for 10 years. You was holding strain and taking jam for 10 years. Give me a little more time and we'll take care of everybody. We promise you that. To bring on our next speaker, a gentleman who, without his knowing, I view as one of my mentors because he looks young like me. Member of Parliament for Barataya San Juan, Minister of Legal Affairs, and Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. He has been a parliamentarian since 2017, first as a senator, then as an MP. A brilliant young attorney with significant experience in civil law. A graduate of UWI Cave Hill Campus, graduate of Hugh Law School, where he graduated on the Principal's Roll of Honor. Put your hands together and welcome the ever-powerful, ever-resilient, ever-trustworthy, and ever powerful Saddam Hussein.
Yeah. Never let your problems get you down. Stay focused and hold.
Good evening, UNC family. Good evening, UNC family. I say good evening to the best Prime Minister, the second female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar of Senior Council. Good evening, Cabinet colleagues, members of Parliament, those in the local government fraternity, the thousands of supporters that have gathered here in Penal. Welcome to the House of the Rising Sun, because when UNC wins, everybody wins. Friends, you would have seen in just 2 short months in government that Trinidad and Tobago has started its transformation under the leadership of Kamla Persad-Bissessar. As my brother Clyde would have said, we have seen tremendous landmark legislation passed in the Parliament. We spent several hours repealing that dreaded TTRA. We amended the Prime Minister's Pension Act. You all remember that? We passed amendments to the Children's Life Fund, so now children will be able to access life-saving surgery for more and more conditions. That is what we have done in just 2 short months. And the cream of it was a visit by Sri Narendra Modi, where we have now signed a memorandum of understanding for agriculture, for healthcare, and many other sectors. So the benefits are flowing into Trinidad and Tobago. But it have some people making noise on the opposite side of we. Penny and she friends. Now, I want to acknowledge a very strong and courageous MP in your cabinet and minister, Minister Barry Padarat. That small fella afraid nobody. And you would have seen what was taking place with CPEP and so on. And the PNM is blowing this thing out of proportion. They assemble a big legal team. Penny says she has senior. She have Faris. She has Stewart. She has Scotland. Man, them fellas run to court, they file a case, all them silk, all them senior counsel, they run to court and file a case. And in less than 24 hours, they see Anna's name and they withdraw the case. The only silk them fellas deserve is a silky smooth parata. That is the only silk crown to that case. They file a case on behalf of a particular CPEP contractor. And there's a Newsday article where Scotland is saying that the withdrawal of that CPEP matter is strategic. Strategic. He said that there was no misstep. Something happened when we filed and we strategically decided that we would go and come again. You all know what happened with that case? The most basic thing that is teaching in law school. The first thing is that you must identify the parties to an action. Mr. Allah had taught me that in law school. And the first thing you have to do is check to see if the company registered on the company's registry. You know they file a case for a company that gets struck out the registry since February this year? And them is big senior counsel. Tonight I want to send a warning to all of the other contractors. Be careful with them fellas, because they will go to court, you will lose your case and you have to pay senior counsel fees. You have to pay something called cost when you lost the case. That is what you have to pay. And they represented this one contractor, and do you know how much money this one contractor collected? About $7 million. $7 million. And then they say, you know what? We're fighting for the poor people.
They didn't represent no poor person, you know. They were representing the $7 million contractor. Typical PNM style. They were not representing the worker. They were representing the who? The contractor, the $7 million man. And then I saw some other documents come up and so on. So you would have seen that they say they're going to file more cases and more cases. Well, I want to tell you all something tonight because we do our homework. We have very good lawyers in the United National Congress, and I'm sure you all agree. Because a simple search in the company's registry could tell you that the company called Stephen Samuel Contractors did not file annual returns for the year 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and collecting government money. They were in breach of the law, and that was the company that those fellas were representing. I think those on record were Larry Lala. I don't know if that fella even won a raffle in his life. Then you have St. Clair O'Neill and Curry Marcel. Those fellas filed a case against a company that was struck out. But it gets worse. Today I asked for a report from the Ministry of Legal Affairs of the total 326 companies that are contractors with the CPEP. I can tell you tonight that 32 of those companies were struck off from the registry. 32. And one company was not even found on the registry. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Heads must roll at CPEP. Heads must roll. And when you think that is enough, it gets even worse. I have in my possession, brothers and sisters, the list of all of the CPEP contractors. The list of all of the 326 CPEP contractors. And all you want to bring case, I want to give them a warning tonight. All you want to bring case, you are going to open up a can of worms. Because tonight I want to share some names with you all. I have no parliamentary privilege. But tonight I want to share some names. There's one particular company called Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Company Limited. They were given the contract on the 1st of March 2023, and the contract ends on the 28th of April 2029. They get a 6-year contract. Now, I went in the company's registry and pulled up to find out who is the owner of this company. The company is called what? Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Company Limited. A person who has beneficial ownership in this company is one Nigel Wayne Cotter. I wonder if this is the same PNM councillor in the San Fernando City Corporation. So what poor people are representing? Is this a PNM councillor that was given a CPEP contract through his company? Let me go again. I want to ask Faris if he know a fella called, I get the fella name correct, Peter Michael Lakis. A company called Arian Marketing and Contracting. I want to ask if Faris know this fella, because this company was given a contract on the 10th of October 2022, and it will expire on the 9th of October 2029. 7 years. 7 years. Tonight I want to ask Faris if you know Peter Lakis. This man have a company in Bevan Street, Lesser West, San Fernando. I think that was your former constituency after you were defeated by Dr. Dowlat. And then it have a next company called Marishaw Maintenance Services Limited. You all know Marishaw, the San Fernando West Posse? All you know who is that? Is that a PNM activist? Is Jamila Marishaw a former PNM candidate? Well, I want to tell you, she got a contract too under her company. So tonight, my brothers and sisters, and her contract was given on the 31st of March 2023 and will expire on the 30th of March 2029. So you understand, when they go on the media and they say they're representing poor people, you see who they're representing? Friends, family, financiers, and PNM activists and councillors. This is what was taking place at the CPEP company. heads will roll. We are here to protect the public's interest, and we are protecting the public's interest. That is what we will do. That is what we will do. And let me tell you, Marishaw Company got struck out on the 9th of January 2025. Look at right here. It right here. But it have some fellas, some grovelers in the Law Association want to tell us that what we should say and what we shouldn't say. That is what they want to tell us, what we should say and what we shouldn't say. Why they don't tell us that Douglas Mendes collected $15 million worth of state briefs? That is why is that why you're making statement that we shouldn't attack independent senators and so on? We have a right to say what we can because we are a political institution in this country and we have a constitutional right to speak. And I want to tell the Law Association and I want to ask them here tonight, was that a unanimous press release or whether or not 4 members dissented from sending that press release? I'll leave it only with that one Law Association. Everything in the dark will come to light. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Thank you. Long live the UNC. Long live Kamala Prasad-Bissessa.
Ole here Bacchanal and CPEP? Ole here Bacchanal? Well, as the Bacchanal start, let me bring on a gentleman who come in to give a show as night follow day. There's fire on this platform here tonight. If you don't feel it had fire, that was just smoke. Fire coming. Let me bring on a gentleman, popularly known as the Roaring Lion. Member of Parliament for Oropouche East, Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Deputy Leader of the UNC, the first youth officer and a founding member with over 20 years experience in our parliament. He's a former Minister of Housing, Leader of Government Business in Parliament and Director of Policy Monitoring Unit, Office of the Prime Minister. He possesses a BSc degree, honors in government from the University of West Indies, LLB degree in law, Masters of Arts in Labour and Development, and a PhD in Development Studies from the Government of Netherlands, Institute of Social Studies, The Hague. Put your hands together and welcome the Lion, Dr. Rudal Budilal.
He's a champion, roaring lion. He's a champion. Experience for the education, Munilala lion. He's a champion. He's a lion.
Thank you.
Champion, roaring lion.
Thank you very much, Comrade Minister Clyde Elder. The Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bissessa. We waited long for that. Let me repeat that. The Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessa. Parliamentary and cabinet colleagues, members of our national executive, local government officers, brothers and sisters assembled in your thousands tonight in the political epicenter of the Caribbean, the constituency of Siparia. Tonight we are in the heart of our party as we return to you, the people. It was just a few weeks ago we came here, humble, and we asked you to give us your support, give us your vote so that we can save Trinidad and Tobago. You returned the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bissessa as the first Prime Minister ever to be returned from opposition by electoral means. That had never happened in Trinidad before. Today, under her leadership, we are in a battle, and I am happy to be before you today in battle gear. You know, all day I was choked up in a suit, and I was itching. I run home and I bathe and I put on my battle gear and I come out because this is where soldiers must be, in battle. And although we have won an enormous historic victory, our battle continues because the enemy is at large. The PNM, they have 13 in the parliament. half useless, and the other half has no use. Well, they have 12, one disappear. When Saddam told us heads will roll, I thought one bald head gone already. But brothers and sisters, all heads will roll, including bald ones. Tonight we are here to report to you, and I will speak briefly on some matters concerning energy. I wanted to tell you tonight I was feeling a bit tired, but tonight the lion has energy. Tonight we want to report to you on 64 days in office, 2 months, including public holidays and weekends. We report to you tonight. Brothers and sisters, we inherited a country in an economic mess and disaster. We inherited an economy that was slipping and had fallen. Unemployment, closure of business, no foreign exchange, no reserves, no nothing from the paradise that Kamla Prasad Bisesa won left in office in 2015. We inherited a country that was in shambles. In the energy sector, they left Point Lisa as a rust belt. They left all the energy companies falling, failing, declining. Between 2015 and 2025, the fall in oil production was 37%. The same thing, 37% fall in gas production. So if this economy cannot produce gas, what you are going to export? Huh? What? Our economy is driven by that energy sector in the main and by gas production. Stuart Young all over the world beating his chest. They make deal, they this, that, and they do the other. He and Rowley, all you remember Rowley? Don't forget him, huh? Don't forget him. You know, you want to forget him, but don't. They destroyed the sector to the extent that companies were pulling out. Brothers and sisters, they were pulling out. Today in Parliament, they're asking where we getting the revenue from. Did you realize every time the PNM talk, they're crying property tax gone, they're crying TRA gone, they're crying this gone. We have to keep our eyes on them. You know, if you leave them in opposition, they may try to raise taxes from opposition. Keep an eye on them, brothers and sisters. Today, I can report to you in a few minutes that under the leadership of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, under her leadership, we have hit the ground running. You beg to move. Imbert, yes. When he spoke in Parliament, he always begging to move. He should move himself. Under Mrs. Prasad Bisesa's leadership, all ministers hit the ground running in all sectors. In the energy sector, we met the oil and gas subsectors in a state of collapse. We moved immediately. We noted the concerns, declines in production and so on. Could I report to you now that in April 2025, brothers and sisters, our nation's crude oil and condensate production, meaning oil, was at 51,488 barrels per day. That was what we come and meet, 51,488 barrels per day. By July 2025, this figure rose to 56,000 barrels per day. In that short time, we have moved the production of oil from 51,000 to 56,000, and we now reach on the compound. We now reach. At that pace, Dr. Mego, we are being told at that pace, by the end of the 24th month in office, we will surpass Kamla Prasad Bisesa one administration record oil production. Your second administration will surpass that in 24 months. Brothers and sisters, we have called on Heritage Petroleum and others to do what they have to take all steps necessary to increase our oil production. And recently you have heard in May, EOG Resources has made significant strides when they brought Mento Development online, an additional well. Today we are proud to receive the news that Touchstone has announced another successful drill in the Cascadura field, confirming additional gas reserves. This is happening at a rapid pace. Just today, myself and our brilliant, fantastic, and knowledgeable minister in the Ministry of Energy, the Honorable Ernest Stokiza, met today with the oil companies and the gas companies. They have pledged to work with us. They are eager. We have a bid round on which has attracted, so far it has attracted an unbelievable amount of interest and investor confidence in the next bid round, which we will deal with in the month of September. But brothers and sisters, I wanted to leave you with one other matter before my time comes to an end. And you know, we have heard over the years all of this nonsense. The PNM said, what? It's because of them Moody came here, Prime Minister Moody. But Moody passed over this country in November last year to go to Guyana. And when he passed over, he didn't even glance at Trinidad and Tobago. He went Georgetown. So what plan you had to bring him here? It is a few months after, with the ascendancy of Kamla Prasad Bisasa, that the Prime Minister of the largest democracy landed in Trinidad and Tobago. And when we heard, Dr. Bodo, when we heard sea ambulances, we heard dialysis machine, we heard agriculture processing equipment, we heard 2,000 laptops to the children. A fella in Debe say, he said, but if Mr. Modi come here twice a year, we business fix. That is the success that we got from one trip of one foreign leader, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, it gives me no pleasure to tell you that the pensionless Stuart Young was parading all over the world, telling you what he's doing to raise revenue and raise the energy sector and oil and gas, blah, blah, blah. I have in my possession a note from the ministry, brothers and sisters, and would you believe, I'll tell you in a nutshell and avoid the technical language. In January, it was January 25th, 2025, this year, Mr. Stuart Young took a note to Cabinet concerning a production sharing contract with the multinationals. I won't name them and so on, but a production sharing contract. That's how money, you just get money. And could I tell you, Prime Minister, the next good news? I know you like to hear good news. In the second quarter of 2025, when you compare to the second quarter of 2024, we received to the central government in 2024, second quarter, $955 million. In the second quarter of this year, our administration, we have already crossed $1 billion in receipts to the government of Trinidad and Tobago. So we have climbed already, and we now reach, the action now start. Brothers and sisters, Stuart Young carried a note to Cabinet, and in this Cabinet note, he claims that he made a mistake, and they put the wrong figures in a table. I have the table here. You know, when we check what he did, he took a note to Cabinet with wrong figures and data concerning the share of government revenue. It was left to the administration of Kamla Prasad Bisasa to go back to this Cabinet and correct. That was a $6 billion error. You all have heard of the $6 million man? This is a $6 billion error. Mistake by Stuart Young. We have saved, by bringing a Cabinet note, 6 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars. That Stuart Young claimed he made an error. I want to ask him tonight, was it an error? Or were you trying to take care of your era? Which was it? An error? Or you taking care of your era? This cannot be an error where you make such a colossal mistake. It must be something more that I have called upon the ministry to investigate. So brothers and sisters, I will leave you with that message of hope that we are here. Kamla Prasad Bisasa and her high-performing team is here. And in quick time, we will return this country to economic success, prosperity, high employment, and an energy sector that is second to none in the Caribbean. Long live our great party, long live our political leader, and long live our struggle. I thank you, and God bless you all.
Sing! Munilala lion, he's a champion, he's a lion, he's a champion, roaring lion, he's a champion, experience full of education, Munilala lion, he's a champion, he's a lion, he's a champion.
Thank you, Dr. Munilal. This place have so much people. I swear to God, we're in around West Savannah. If you see people outside. But we have a little situation And we need the following drivers to attend to your vehicles, please. PDT 7534, PPS 3644, 8CE 415, and PDT 7534. We have a situation and we need you all to attend to your vehicles urgently and quickly, please. PDT 7534, PBS 3644, 8CE 415, and PDT 7534. Thank you for cooperating. As I said, we are a disciplined party and we always listen and remain disciplined. Yes? And speaking about discipline, let me bring on a lady who has been in this party and served this party with fervor, with dignity, with loyalty, and with heart. Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Member of Parliament for Couva North, a dynamic firebrand, former senator. She came into the Senate in 2001. She held the position of CEO of HDC. She has an MBA as a chartered accountant, certified professional accountant, and a certified management accountant. This young lady really needs no introduction. And so, I want you to put your hands together and welcome to this microphone the Honorable Deputy Political Leader, Minister, MP, Jolene John.
Pinky man say come, when I see I call you must come. Leave out the sun and come, hurry up 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 and come, this is Babylon. I home is not in Babylon, Mount Zion is I home, and you see, any day from now, I didn't know. Calling on Rastaman, no more will I home. Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, hurry up and come.
The Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Prime Minister, Prime Minister, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Members of Parliament, Senators, Chairman of Corporation, Councillors, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, members of the United National Congress, you stayed the course, you ran a great race. I want to thank you. I want to thank you. UNC, are you here? I want to thank you. Like only don't win already and only for less free power. UNC, are you here? I want to thank you. It is so good to be with you again. For almost 10 years, you showed up Monday after Monday after Monday. Many of you never missed a meeting. You never wavered. You never faltered. You knew that it took steel to cut steel, and that one day we were going to beat the PNM soundly. And on April 28th, we did just that, led by the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. UNC, we know why we are here. And more importantly, we know who brought us here. And it's for that reason that our beloved Prime Minister, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, is with us tonight. So we don't want to advise some Amory Brown. Tell Amory Brown, just take that loss and cool it. It is the same Amory Brown who didn't know that they were going to impose UK visa on us. He didn't know. It was the same Amory Brown who one Sunday, we saw in the Sunday Guardian that he was going to be the Member of Parliament. He was going up for Digo Martin West. And before the ink was dried on that papers, he had to go and retract it on social media. When Rowley back, he mouthed as if it's a crazy glue. But he have advised us. Tell him, Brown, rock so. He could rig the game, but he can't fake authenticity. Even Rowley knows that. They spent 10 years doing their best to destroy this country. Billions spent, and we cannot see where the money went. Everything break down, mash up. moldy, dusty, crusty, and rusty. Most things don't work. What does the leader of the opposition do? She begs for your forgiveness. She has no answer for the destruction of your lives. No excuse for the 10 years of neglect, their arrogance, their deceit, and lies. She says, baby, I'm sorry. Tonight I say too little, too late. And instead for them to ask the Father for forgiveness, because up to now they don't know what they have done. For 10 years, they all co-signed to make the rich richer. All that time, the poor and vulnerable, including single mothers who they now send a petition for, hanging on only by grace of God. So what specifically is the leader of the opposition sorry about? They're only sorry now because 100,000 of their own people rejected them. 100,000. They only find that them belong to the lost and found. They only find their conscience after they lost the general election. So the leader of the opposition asking the same people who they ignored for 10 years, 10 years of their cruel policies, 10 years, people were driven into deeper poverty and hardship, suffering and despair. Now, Penny asking them to come back and build the PNM. Why and for whom these people must come back and build any PNM? All of the PNM people here, you could put up all your hand. You are part of the rising sun. You're not going back and build nothing. I tell Penny tonight, just like Lady Lava, you not Bob the Builder. You're not building PNM. You're not building PNM for future because it's still not yours. Only like the Lava. You understand? Lady Lava, you understand? You're not building nothing. Let PNM stay there. Leave them right there. They are there for the rich to get richer. They feel this is a situation instead of lost and found. And the UNC, who is now the most formidable force in politics, will never allow them to regain power again. Never. UNC, never. Alternatively, do you know what the Honorable Prime Minister did when they raised gas 4 times? She took up a gas pan and she told us, she leads them in front. She told us, go on every highway and byway. Go on every overpass. And we, the UNC, we were in Faizabad. We were in Maruga, like how they forget. We were on the overpass of Claxton Bay and El Socorro, Barataria, St. Joseph, St. Augustine, Tunapuna, La Joqueta, San Grande, and Valencia. Wherever there was a flyover, we protested as the United National Congress. This didn't come easy. So UNC don't play all the tired now. We worked for this. We were led by a leader. And that is why we are where we are today. So when they sit down and tell you, come and build back what? Where was they when you had adversity? Because Martin Luther King says, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Where did Kamala stand? She stood with you. We marched from Pinal Junction with empty pot and pan, with black flag when they raised the price of food. We stood for them. We stood for everybody. We protested for scrap iron workers when they may protest for themselves. We walked through the King Vales of Couva when the PNM government ignored 4 men suffocating a pipe. Dr. Munilal, Minister Tanku, Dr. Bodo, they went and protested when a segment of the Mosquito Creek collapsed. That is what we did. We marched for the poor and the vulnerable because they were pushing a race talk. But we know that sufferers don't care about color. Sufferers don't care about race. Sufferers don't care who from Pinal. Sufferers don't care who from Silat. Sufferers only want to know where the next meal coming from. So when Kamla Prasad Bisesa, then opposition leader, say, take my hands. Take my hands. What did Tinapuna do? They took her hands. What did St. Joseph do? They took her hands. What did Grandi do? They took her hands. What did San Fernando West do? They took her hands. And she's going to lead them into a bright future. Into a bright future, as the union says, forward ever, backwards never. So you PNM people don't go and play no Bob the Builder. You ain't building no PNM for any future. They didn't know earlier when you were suffering. It was Kamla Prasad Bisesa who said, take my hands. Now, I am down in Pinal, and I know you know I didn't come down just to talk that. Some weeks ago, I was on Papuri Road. That road split in 2. It's years now that road split in 2. From the ministry, we have mobilized the work. All right, you know what? Kamla Prasad Bisesa says in government, we have come to play, we come to work. All right. Michelle Benjamin, minister. You know, I think over the last 5 years, about 30 or 10 years, 35 houses lost to landslides. Nobody. 3 years ago on Mandinga Road, houses just falling apart. I was there last week, Wednesday. We are mobilizing by next week. At least we are mobilizing. But by next week, I hope the contractor will just get his bond together. Today I was asking and go and fix it. You go into people's bedrooms, they're falling down in your arms crying. They have no empathy and they have no intention to change. Them can't change. Them a tiger and lion like Dr. Munilal. Them is leopard and they can't change no spot. Leave the pair them right there. You leave them right there because you know when UNC wins, everybody wins. So, as we prepare to bring on our wonderful, our beautiful, we don't care, our kind, you know, they don't know kindness is a superpower. They feel that people have to shout at you and bark at you and insult you. Many of them, they went to, Penny even vote for herself. They went from Magdalena in Tobago. And they say, all over Penny, put up your hand. She must even put up her hand. But now she's coming to tell you to put her into office. Which office? First, you have to stand for something. It's 10 years we standing up. You know that. We stood for so many people. We stood for people we don't know. We stood for people who don't like us. We stood for people who said the worst about us. And here we are, still standing. Still standing. Because if God be for you, who can be against you? And now I hear Stuart Young, the Prime Minister, for one day is telling them, time longer than twine. So UNC, we know what is delayed is not denied. And tonight I want to congratulate you for choosing the best Prime Minister this country has ever seen. Ever seen. It has been a long time coming. It has been a long time coming. It took 10 years. But today we know for certain. We know for certain that, again, as I said, what is delayed is not denied. So I sincerely want to thank the people of Trinidad and Tobago that on the 28th of April, they chased the crazy Borrell out of town. And you keep him out of town. All right? So tonight, UNC, you just keep hope alive and let us keep working hard. Do not take your eyes off the prize because you know how sweet it is. How sweet it is to be in government. We waited a long time for that. I want to thank you so much, UNC. Thanks a lot.
Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, class Babylon. Hurry up and come, hurry up and come, hurry up and come, class Babylon. I hope it's not.
Thank you, Deputy Political Leader Jolene John MP for Couva North. HEC 415, you still have not attended to your vehicle, and we have an urgent situation that we needed to move your vehicle. Please, HEC 415, please remove your red band maxi. Thank you very much. This school auditorium is so filled. And I want to ask the people on my extreme right to just take 2 steps back. And I want you all to just clear this path for me, please. I need this pathway clear. I need to be a runway. If I had a red carpet, I'd have put on the red carpet. Because you see this pathway here? I am playing with this pathway here. You see this pathway here? I want this pathway clear. And I want this pathway clear. Because when you see we bring on the next speaker, nothing must stand in her way. Nothing will stand in her way. And anything in her way, we're moving it out of the way. So before you be moved out of the way, make the pathway clear for me, please. Nice. Now that we have gotten that straight. Penal. We are at a point where we are being honored, privileged, and for some of us, it is a moment of extreme, deep, and utter emotion. The next speaker, she needs no introduction. She is the true mother of this nation. She is the epitome of elegance. She has made one man very lucky, Dr. Bisses and the rest of us envious. a lady who has created history, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but over and over and over again, and she will continue to create history. Penal, let me ask you to stand. Let me ask you to put your hands together, wave your flag in the air as we welcome the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Everybody wins. Everybody's a winner. When UNC win, Trinbago wins. For UNC, everybody wins. Everybody wins. Put your X next to the rising sun. Tell the neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell the mother, tell your father, it's time to decide. If you want leaders who can build, place your X by the rising sun. If you want leaders who can lead properly, place your X by the rising sun. When UNC win, everybody wins. When UNC win, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. For the past 10 years, you know we hold it here. Now the whole place turning at the problem state. It's only our ship under the valley state. Now the UNC come here to save the day. So remember when election come, put your eggs by the rising sun. Because I win for UNC. It's a win for TNT.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Superior Penal. Superior Penal. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. How wonderful it is to be back in my home seat, in my constituency here, constituency of Superior. As I welcome all of you. You know, I visited Bihar. Prime Minister Modi called me a daughter of Bihar. And because Prime Minister Modi was here, if you go up on the YouTube, they're showing everything related to India and to this Beti from Bihar. And it's all there. And I looked and I saw a video when I was last in India, when I was invited by the then government of India to receive an award, one of the highest awards given to a non-resident Indian, a non-national. And I'm looking at the video, and this is what I said. Thousands were gathered. Barry was there, you remember? By the way, there's a fellow named Sukhdev, he knows who he is. He was there too, as part of the deal, and others were there. And in that speech that I gave, with all these people gathered there in my village, my ancestral village, and I said, everything I am today, this was in 2012, everything I am today and everything that I have become is because it is buried in my genetic DNA right here in Bihar. And today I say, here at this Penal Secondary School, everything I am is buried in my DNA right here in the consistency of Superior. So thank you all very much. As I bring greetings here, we will not take too much time, but let us acknowledge the best cabinet, the best Senate, the best set of MPs in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Please stand and take a bow. You deserve it. You deserve it. We have, thank you MPs and senators. We have the strongest team, and we are joined and buttressed by our cadre of persons in the local government fraternity. Let's give it up for our local government people as well, as we thank them. We are very blessed at this time in our history to have a team that comprises every color, class, every creed. Isn't that Trinidad and Tobago? Isn't that what TNT is about? Every color, class, creed. And Sturgey, Minister Sturge, we also have every size and shape. So thank you all. hear every creed, hear every race find an equal place under the United National Congress in the House of the Rising Sun. So thank you all, our loyal rank and file supporters here, and those who are watching at home and elsewhere. Thank you to the chairpersons of one chairperson. Give it up to young Clyde, Minister Clyde. There's a firebrand MP, as they all are. So give them a round of applause. Thank you, Clyde, Minister Clyde. Thank you so much. All of you brothers and sisters, there are thousands hooked on now, Dominic, your AI person. Thousands are hooked up, thank God, to the World Wide Web, viewing, looking at the streams, looking at the broadcasts. And as I say, good evening to everyone. I know my colleagues who spoke before me really stressed how much it was and how stressful it was. During the 10 years we were lost in the vineyard, in the 10 years that we wandered in the wilderness. But the one good thing is that you, our supporters, are never left outside. Never left outside. And I want to thank you for laboring with us in that vineyard for those 10 years. Because remember, glory cometh in the end. And that glory belongs to you, the UNC supporters, those of you who made the effort on election day. Thank you. Right here. A lot has happened since we gathered at a Monday night report to you. On April 28th this year, 2025, we achieved a historic and resounding victory at the polls. Particularly, let me say loud and clear, again, our victory belongs to you. Take a bow, everybody. That victory belongs to you. Those people who would show up for UNC events for the last 10 years when we were in opposition, I want to thank every single member, activist, organizer, supporter of the extraordinary United National Congress. This victory was not by chance. This victory was not by chance. It was earned through your tireless work, your unwavering loyalty, your tireless work, as I said, and your loyalty, your deep belief in the principles and the values and our vision, our UNC's mission to build a brighter future for all in Trinidad and Tobago. I assure you that we will always be a government that will be accountable to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is why we are here tonight, to report, to account for the job that you gave us and to let you know as we go along. So return to our report on the progress of your government since we took office. I think Munilal says, 64 days ago? 64 days. They seem like 64 long years, but it has gone so fast. And I want to tell you again, this gathering will not be a one-off event. It was the first in a series of Monday night reports that we will continue across the country, because I've always believed that the rank and file members of our party are the heart and soul of our very livelihood, of our very movement. And a people's government, a true people's government, must always stay connected to its citizens. We will continue to walk with you. We will continue to talk with you. We will continue to work alongside you, because we must never forget where we came from and who put us into office. We must never ever forget. My friends, I say, we stand here. We stand here tonight as a party that has struggled and labored for 10 years. We stand here united as a people with boundless faith in our destiny. There is no progress without sacrifice. There is no progress without determination. And there is no progress unless people feel a positive impact in their lives and in their pockets. That's where the impact will be in your livelihoods, in your lives, and pocket. Must be in your pocket, and we will make it happen. Progress will take some time. It will require considerable effort. It will involve making tough decisions to level the playing field. But this is what is needed at this time in our history. You don't want the next 5 years to be terror as the past 10 years. And we must put our shoulders to the wheel and never, ever give up. Minister John told us that the enemy is at the gate. The enemy is always at the gate, and we should never let go. We should never let go of that wheel. We must hold on strong. Put our faith in God and walk behind. You want to win. You want to win, I assure you that the wins will be worth the sacrifice. The wins will be worth the sacrifice. These years ahead are a journey towards a dream that is Trinidad and Tobago. This dream is our opportunity to recalibrate our society, our systems, to recalibrate our nation. And so I want to tell you how we've begun some of that recalibration. We have to recalibrate our society so there's a fair system of taxation. Overtaxation of our population must stop. And the only way to achieve this is to recalibrate the Board of Inland Revenue to enable taxation across the board fairly. And we must have the taxation because that's where we get some of the money to run the country, deliver goods and services. So I tell you again, BIR recalibration. Let me tell you what has been happening. We had to scrap that TTRA. That was a win. We promised you we would scrap the TTRA. That was a win, and we did it. And we did it in a climate in the other house where you had independent persons voting against scrapping the TTRA. A revenue authority was set up by Mr. Imbert and the PNM that would not have been fair to the people of our land. They starved the BIR to put in their child, to put in their thought that they would be able to control the BIR, but not BIR now, the TTRA, trying to be a revenue authority to control it. We are working to modernize the BIR into a digitally powered, service-oriented, and accountable institution which enhances voluntary tax compliance, strengthen revenue collection, supporting the socio-economic development of Trinidad and Tobago. Let me tell you something, when we got into office, if you listen to each of our ministers, MPs, who have gone out into the country, every single thing was in shambles. The BIR is no different. When your ministers tell you, you go to a courthouse, it's in shambles. You go to a school, it is in shambles. You go to a health center, it is in shambles. And not just buildings, the infrastructure, the roads, the bridges, everything in shambles. In shambles. We have a great job to do. We will not shirk that job. I give you my assurance. As I told you, anyone who fails to perform, retribution will be swift. And my MPs and ministers know, and they are working really, really, really hard. So everything was in shambles. The Board of Indian Revenue has, yes, MPs and senators, yes. And local government too. Agree. When UNC wins, everybody wins. So let's talk about this BIR. The staff at the BIR, I heard Minister of Education speaking, Health speaking earlier about what's happening in those health centers, what's happening in the schools, teachers, staffing, blah, blah, blah. BIR, they only have 36% of their staff. There are 1,050 positions in the BIR. Do you know how many are filled? Do you know how many? 375 are filled. So there are 675 vacant positions in the BIR. This means the BIR is 64% understaffed. And people out there begging for jobs, Qualified people want jobs, So we are going, the core, the backbone of the BIR system, something called GenTax, is now 8 iterations outdated. This is the software. So we 8 iterations, way out 8 times. The world has gone ahead and we are living in the Stone Age. So we have to improve that. We have to use the digital software, the technology to get our BIR going. So Mr. Imber is saying, they have no money. They're shutting down TTRA, BIR. What he did, he starved the BIR of human and financial and technological advances. So the BIR was collecting next to nothing. And that's how he wanted to shut it down, to put his hand-picked people in the TTRA. Tonight, I tell you, formal instructions have been given, and procurement will commence for a full GenTax system upgrade of that system. This upgrade will enable real-time access to taxpayer data, predictive analytics, e-auditing, and automation of return processing. There is a cabinet note now before what is known as the Finance and General Purposes Subcommittee of the Cabinet, awaiting comments from the Honorable Attorney General. The cabinet note emphasizes increased board engagement and mandatory meeting schedule, tighter reporting protocols, enhanced oversight mechanisms to ensure accountability, better governance and efficiency at the BIR. Process modernization, including a detailed roadmap to streamline registration, compliance, audit, and collections is in development. We are focusing on areas which include standardized procedures, better coordination between departments and audits. Remember when Minister Imbert and his people refused to allow the Auditor General to audit the records of the central bank? You remember that? About $3 billion missing because they killed the whole BIR. They didn't want anybody to go in to find out what we're doing. And guess what? They hired some private firm. Now, I am told it's some company called BDO. They hired to do audits, not just there. We are seeing in the cabinet coming every week audited statements of several state organizations by something called BDO. Now tell me, I'm asking for a friend, only asking tonight, whether this BDO is connected to the brother of Stuart Young, the one named Angus Young. Tell me. You left the Auditor General out. That's a duly independent person office to audit your records. Brought in some company, I am told, and I'm asking, BDO, any relationship to one Stuart Young, the one late Prime Minister, and to his brother, Angus Young. These are things you need to know. You must know what was happening in that former government. So we'll have structured audits, we can improve compliance, we can have revenue collection and increase our revenue collection up to $10 billion. Remember they say, where Kamala getting this money, making all them promises, where we getting it? This is one place where we will get that money legally to help you get jobs, to fix our schools, to fix our hospitals. This is one way. We will have reduced tax leakages. We'll have enhanced voluntary compliance and improve fiscal space. So I have a document here which we'll put out, which is some of our plans to modernize and recalibrate the Board of Inland Revenue. Let's talk about crime. So one is money. Say, no money, what, Philip? No money, no love. We need the money to run the country. This is one way. But we also have to deal with the crime in our country. So what have we been doing in these past 2 months, apart from many other things? We have to recalibrate legislation to enhance the rights of law-abiding citizens. Criminals' rights must never, never, ever supersede, be above those of law-abiding people in our country. Never, ever, never, ever. Further, to my instructions to the Honorable Attorney General, the Law Reform Commission has prepared a policy paper entitled Protection Against Home Invasion in Trinidad and Tobago, an examination of stand your ground and other self-defense laws. They have also drafted a bill entitled the Home Invasion, Self-Defense and Defense of Property Bill 2025. In 2 short months. In accordance with Section 3 of the Law Reform Commission Act, Chapter 304, the Law Reform Commission received instructions from the Honorable Senator, Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, John Jarrett. Give him a hand of applause. He's really working really hard, to undertake a comprehensive examination of the relevant statutes in other jurisdictions, stand your ground laws, the model which exists in Florida, for example, any other relevant domestic laws which address self-defense options available to occupants of dwellings by which they can protect themselves from home invaders. This bill seeks to establish the offense of home invasion, and in that context, to provide a person has no duty to retreat when operating in self-defense, in defense of his property, in defense of his family. This bill will provide that a person may use defensive force, including deadly force, to protect himself, his property, and his family members. The bill would establish, as I said, the offense of home invasion and set out the parameters of the offense. This will include the unlawful entry by a person, the home invader, into a dwelling house with intent to use force or threaten the use of force on persons in that dwelling house. The offense of home invasion will also cater for instances in which a home invader intentionally causes any injury to occupants of that house, including grievous bodily harm, grievous sexual assault, rape, and death. A home invasion may involve a home invader stealing, damaging, destroying property in the house with or without the use of intimidation, threats, or violence. Further, a home invasion may involve the use of a weapon, a firearm, or an explosive device in order to cause grievous bodily harm, permanent disability, permanent disfigurement, or death to any person in that house. In this bill, provision is also being made for aggravating factors where home invasion is carried out by a member of a gang, a participant in an organized criminal activity, or in the presence of a child, senior citizen, differently abled, or vulnerable person. For the purpose of self-defense during a home invasion, the use of deadly force may be justified where an occupant reasonably believes that force is necessary to prevent death, to prevent bodily harm, to prevent grievous sexual assault or rape. The bill is drafted. Say thanks to the government. Give us a round of applause if I ask you. The bill is drafted within 2 months. And we will put the bill out for consultation. We'll put the bill out for consultation. And Thursday, it will be presented to the Cabinet, and national consultations will then begin with a targeted completion date in AG, July. After the consultations come in, we will continue working with the suggestions that come in from John Public, from you, from various stakeholders, and we will put it together that once the Parliament reopens in September, that bill will be laid in Parliament and we will move to pass it in Parliament to give you greater safety and security. So this is the Stand Your Ground letter sent to the Honourable Attorney General, sending us a policy paper and a draft bill. So during July, while Parliament is closed, we will not stop working. We will have the consultations out there. This is a policy paper together with a bill for helping you to fight out home invaders. In addition to this, in tandem, together, we cannot have just home invasion laws. We must also give you the power, the tool, the instrument to protect yourself. And so what we will do, we are working on amendments to the Firearms Act to make it easier for law-abiding citizens to access legal firearms. So then you can legally rock it back, empty the clip, legally, to defend yourself, to defend your family, to defend your home, your property, and your loved ones. As soon as we get the Stand Your Ground law into place, we will deal with the Firearms Act, or we may do it AG together. We could do it simultaneously, working on both together. We believe that once a law-abiding citizen has the necessary documentation in order, that citizen should be allowed to obtain a firearm permit. Too many times, citizens have all the documentation to qualify and are refused a firearm because of the opinion or irrationality of some arbitrary police officer. We remove the arbitrariness from the process and we bring that legislation so you can defend yourself as law-abiding citizens. About pepper spray. How long have we been hearing about pepper spray? The government will collaborate with the Commissioner of Police to simplify and streamline the application process so you can get pepper spray. Where possible, senior officers at your district police stations will be authorized to sign off on pepper spray applications. This will quicken the process and allow the senior officer the flexibility to make real-time decisions. Too long things wait and take too long. Real-time decisions regarding applications where there are imminent threats, particularly in domestic violence cases. So we will work with the TTPS on the pepper spray. We move on, I'm talking about crime and security, but one of the issues we have is our problems with the slow pace of justice in our country, with the judiciary. So you have a case 10 years later, a case still there. So we have to quicken, we have to speed up the justice system because, you know, we always hear the saying, justice denied is, justice delayed is, justice denied. So we'll work, our Minister of Justice is working with us, our AG and others, and this is my plan, this is our plan. We plan to introduce a chancellor in the judiciary. Now, you may not understand what it means. At the moment, our system has a Chief Justice. But the Chief Justice has to do the administration. The Chief Justice has to deliver judgments and oversee the whole operations. When the way that the country has grown, we have outlived that kind of model. Because everything is more and more and more, the number of cases being filed. So we have discussed this, Honourable Attorney General, on our instructions, talk to the Law Reform Commission to examine the establishment of a Lord Chancellor of the Judiciary of Trinidad and Tobago. The Law Reform Commission has prepared a research note, and we will be reviewing that in the Cabinet. The Chief Justice will still be in charge of the judiciary, but the Chancellor will oversee the day-to-day logistics and the running of the courts. At the same time, the Chief Justice will focus on managing legal cases and overseeing the judges, magistrates, masters, and other judicial personnel. So, the judiciary is in a difficult place. The Chief Justice has been bogged down in operational duties and daily management activities and is hindered from his core function, and that is of delivering judgments and monitoring judicial appointees. We can fix the operations of the judiciary and have the Chief Justice, give the Chief Justice and the judiciary what they require, fit for purpose human resources. We are currently in the early stage, but we hope to have the legislation drafted by October when the Parliament reopens. And again, we will have nationwide consultations on this major change to our judicial system in the country. We cannot do the same things over and over again and expect to have change, to expect to have prosperity, peace, and development. My friends, we can fix the operations of the judiciary, but they require fit-for-purpose human resource. As I said in the early stages, but we shall be there. According to Philip, we shall fix it. Together, we shall fix it. This is a note from the Law Revision Commission, the policy paper with respect to establishment of a Chancellor, Lord Chancellor of Trinidad and Tobago. I move now to something very near and close and dear to my heart and to all of us in this land. I want to talk about the UWI DB campus. What a shame, what a tragedy that so many of our young people were denied a chance of university education. Was it because of spite? Was it because of malice and ill will? That because this campus was built by my former government when we were there, a former UNC government, that the PNM refused. If you pass there, you'll see the pictures up on your screen, I hope. We will begin work on this campus shortly. I'm telling you, we will begin work. We will engage a consultant who will then provide a scope of work for repairs and completion of the existing campus. First, we had to go in and see what's there. My ministers went, I think there's pictures on your screen, Minister Munilal, Minister Prakash Prasad, and others visited the campus fairly recently. And we have to find out what is good and what is not good and what needs to be fixed. So the first thing, we will hire a consultant to do an assessment of what the scope of works would be. That will be phase one. And I give you this assurance, God willing, that will happen sooner than later in this vacation time, school vacation time. And then we will go to phase two, when the scope of works is identified, to see what exactly now needs to be done. So the consultant will be brought on board in July. We believe repairs can begin in August and can continue thereafter. So DB campus, I have not forgotten you. I always remembered when I went to Jamaica as a young 18-year-old, I think I was then. And I went to the Mona campus. Anybody here was ever visited the Mona campus? Many of you have. Dr. Bodo trained there, other doctors, Dr. Natalie, others. Many of us. And when I landed in Kingston, you had to drive over a lot of mountains and hills to get to the Mona campus. It was nestled in a valley. And it was one of the most beautiful things you could have seen in the middle of the Blue Mountains in Jamaica. And that campus has remained forever etched in my memory as a place of great learning. I had loved that place so much. I learned so much there. I spent 14 years of my life, first as a student on the Jamaica campus, Mona, and then as a lecturer on the Mona campus in Jamaica. Great days. To my friends who are now the CARICOM heads in Jamaica, I send you all my best wishes and best greetings. Jamaica is a second home to me. And I wish you success in your deliberations. We have a team there led by Minister Sean Sobers, and I have, and my government has, every confidence in Mr. Sobers. Minister Alexander is also there, and CARICOM Ambassador Dr. Ralph Maraj, permanent secretaries, and others. We have a large delegation there. We wish you all the best in your deliberations. So why talk to you about Mona? My vision was, yes, we have the St. Augustine campus, but many of our students cannot afford coming from Deep Point, 14, La Brea. I know Clyde will agree with me. Kesar will agree with me. Coming from Mayaro, coming from Princess, coming from Pinal, coming from Superior, coming from Central. To go to stay in St. Augustine, you have to have money in your pocket. Money in your pocket. And many persons were denied that opportunity because their parents just could not afford it. And that was the vision I had, to build this campus in the south, equal to the one in St. Augustine. Is a great campus. UWI is a well-recognized institution worldwide. And so, as I did once before, my dreams were then shattered. When the campus, really, what was it, 85% complete? They just shut it down for 10 years. That we are back. God don't sleep, only wears pajamas. And so, we will begin work on that baby campus. And even when you're from north, you can still come down here. We welcome everybody to the south. Michelle, correct? Everybody's welcome down to the south. Doesn't matter where, but you know what that campus will also do? In addition to creating spaces for tertiary education in our own nation, our own country, you know what will bring? Foreign exchange. It will be a state-of-the-art campus. St. Augustine could do it, but they're already crammed to the brim. And so this campus here in South, persons don't come for the whole CARICOM. And guess what? Anybody have little house on land and thing? They have to rent. So instead of sending South people to rent in St. Augustine, let's bring CARICOM people to rent in this part of the world. They will have to eat. They'll spend money. We will welcome all regional and international students. And as we develop that campus, my vision again for it is we can bring international students, not just the CARICOM regional, but international. That's what we're talking about. Bring the foreign exchange. We will give you an education. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago. So my friends, as the time is slipping by, I still have a few more things I want to share with you. I really would like to share with you. Our problem throughout the country now, you know, before this is only South flooding, right? People up in North used to laugh at us. That PNM MP, I don't even want to call his name, used to say, we like what? Alligators from a murky lagoon. Yeah, flooding. So how, what do we do? Yes, we are doing works, dredging, doing whatever. Let me tell you what is a major part of the flooding problem. Is that our river mouths are not being dredged. So while we dredge the little river here and the ravine here and there and everywhere, when the water reaches the river mouth, hits the sea, there's nowhere to go, because that is, a geography student will be able to tell me what happens there at the edge. It's silted up. The water cannot drain. So this is what? In discussions with the Minister of Works, we will issue directives for tendering the dredging of the mouths of the major rivers on our coast. Major rivers on our coast. These works will be conducted based on surveys, not by Vike, surveys and data. And we will engage dredging firms to undertake this work. I will tell you, it's a shame that the amount of money spent on drainage and desilting works in our country has yielded little or no relief. The Ministry of Works was run as a family business for the last 10 years. I could call name, but I think some of you know that. Let's leave them alone. Somebody, you know who they are. It was run like a family business. not for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That was their private fiefdom, their private business. It's a shame then how much money spent, little relief. And now, I have requested test results for several major road projects for some time now. We have not got them yet, not because of Minister John, who is the minister, but because people are hiding they're hiding like cockroaches, in the logs and under the boulders. But we will get it. We will not give up. You must tell us about the testing for the road projects that you did during that first month coming up into the election. Paving everywhere. And I'm asking again, Minister John, let us get it early, because if you've done bad work, we need to know now, because there's a period of time during which they will have to remedy the defects. So if it stays too long, we had to go and pay all over again, but these people were paid. So let's get the testing works. Building thing all about and just putting asphalt on it, putting pitch on it, and fooling people before elections to think they were taking care of you. So I'm awaiting those test results with eager eyes. And therefore what I will do, should we fail to get them, I intend to make a request to the ACIB, the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau, to review some of the previously awarded contracts and operatives at PIO, at NITCO, and at the Drainage Division. Hopefully, the Anti-Corruption Bureau will be able to locate these test results, as the existing personnel of the various ministries, they have been unable to find them, or so they say. I will support Minister John in rooting out the corrupt operatives at that ministry, and they will face the full brunt of the law. So, I want to share with you, when the Parliament reopens, some of the upcoming legislation in the new session of Parliament, which will begin in September. Noise. The government intends to review legislation for the granting of bar and party license, where we will enable citizens to hire their own lawyers to represent their interests at the licensing hearings. You see, you can't go, you don't have your own lawyer. Sometimes people pass a little something here, there, and the license are granted. So we'll pass law that if you are being affected, you can hire a lawyer to represent your interests against noise. At the moment, the police represent the public at these hearings, and many times they do not accurately reflect the opinions of citizens who have objections. And again, let's get our police officers out there to fight crime, real crime, instead of being stuck in a courthouse dealing with permits to host noise. There will also be legislation for a mandatory cut-off time for all public events requiring dancehall license that are not held within an enclosed building, and legislation regarding the use of music trucks and cut-off time for music trucks. Of course, there'll be some exemptions for national festivals, but you can't be there. Sometimes you have elderly people, sick people, and this noise up and down the road, not good for their health or mind. So we will deal with that by legislation. Music trucks have become a scourge. They've become a source of irritation across the country. And many nights you hear them playing music loudly at very late hours. My friends, many nights, loud. Fireworks legislation will be brought to the Parliament and passed in the new term. As I said before, there will be specific days and periods when persons will be allowed the fireworks and, of course, the music trucks and the bar license and party license. I move now to addiction. I've spoken about this in the campaign. Gambling, marijuana, alcohol legislation will also be brought to Parliament. We intend to raise the legal age for gambling and marijuana use to the age 25 and older. And the legal age for alcohol will be raised to 21 years and older. Pension reform. I know it's close to many of us. Many of us. I believe that once a person reaches age 60 and has been contributing to the pension system for decades, they should no longer be taxed on their retirement benefits. The ongoing tax lessens the value of a pension, which is meant to support retirees in their later years, and can feel like double taxation. So you're paying it for your whole life while you're working, you get a retirement benefit, and they want to tax you on top of that. Paying taxes both in your working years and your retirement years. We will look at that law. These taxes strain the finances of seniors, especially those living on fixed, limited incomes, and can be a significant source of frustration. My government will review and amend the tax laws regarding pensions to reflect fairness and recognition of lifelong contributions made by persons. Exempting pension incomes from taxes after age 60 is a fair policy adjustment. And that will acknowledge the service and sacrifices of so many persons, retirees, and what will also do? Strengthen social support to retirees. I see Mr. McIntyre here. I'm sure you'll be very happy with this. You've served our country with distinction for so well, and now a retiree, as so many others. We will ensure that those of you who have contributed so much that you are not unduly burdened in your golden years. My government and yours intends to correct this injustice to our senior citizens. As we move along, let me tell you some of the things that are coming before us during this time. Everywhere you remember, the UNC has had pre-budget consultations. This year, we'll have those, and we'll do them a bit earlier, because our Minister of Finance and our Minister of Planning, we have to prepare our budget for September, October. So we'll do the consultations a bit earlier. All budget consultations, every constituency, will begin shortly, and they are to be completed by the end of this month of July. Take note, MPs and senators. In constituencies where we do not have an MP, I will ask our senators to assist us in ensuring that we have budget consultations in every constituency. In Tobago, we have our 2 Tobago MPs who are working with us. Also, they will not be left behind. So, this month of July, I ask you to dedicate to pre-budget consultations. We just did a midterm review with the budget, but that was not really our budget. We tried to slip some things in, like extending the hours for the police stations, for the health centers, giving some monies for the school repair program, some things that we tried to put in. But the first real budget of your new government will be the one that will come in the next session, September, October. So I want your input. I want you all to attend these budget consultations. We'll post it up on the UNC groups and platforms. And please attend. And when we do them, we don't need experts. We don't need to bring some big finance man, finance lady. I want to hear from you. You are the experts. You tell us what you want, how we can achieve it. We had done budget consultations in the past, and sometimes our members get very excited and they don't invite big boys and big girls and ladies and men. I want to hear from you. Promise me you will attend and give us your suggestions in your constituencies. I thank you very much. After each of these consultations, each constituency, each MP, each senator will have to support a report to the Prime Minister for us to analyze them and determine possible implementation of your recommendations. It is that deep and enduring connection to grassroots people that has allowed us to truly understand the pain and the frustrations and the hopes of the people across our beautiful land. And it is that connection with you that will guide our budgetary policy in the upcoming session of Parliament. So, I know others have mentioned, but I will not let it go by. I think we have been truly honored and very blessed to have the visit of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Modi ji, which took place July 3rd and 4th, 2025, was a landmark moment in our nation's history for many reasons, one of which is India has 1.4 billion people. Can you imagine that? I cannot imagine 1 billion. I can't imagine less than that, but 1.4 billion people. They are the largest democracy in the world. And so we thank Prime Minister Modi and his delegation. It was a proud achievement and deepening of our ties with India. But it also delivered direct benefits to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So it wasn't just about economies of the world. When you're looking for friends, those are good friends to have. And so this historic initiative resulted in major agreements across a dozen sectors in our country: health, education, justice, renewable energy, trade, agriculture, public admin, foreign policy, across the spectrum of human endeavor. Education. I was very proud, I know you'll be proud with me, the laptop initiative, 2,000 laptops from India gifted to the children of Trinidad and Tobago. In addition to that, the Ayurvedic program and Indian chairs at the University of the West Indies. Health. India will provide 20 dialysis units. 20, not one, not two, 20 to Trinidad and Tobago. When I campaigned, I told you when UNC wins, everybody wins. Our patients who need dialysis treatment, they will win also. I told you we'll extend the hours, we service more people who need dialysis treatments. That's in health. And then the prosthetic limb in health. 20 units, I told you. Very important, equally important. 2 C ambulances. You know what's a C ambulance? So if you're in Tobago and you're in trouble, take the C ambulance and come down the road. If you're outshore, out on the waters, on the rigs, and all the work we are doing in the waters, territorial water, we have an air ambulance to go and look for you and pick you up. And give a round of applause for that. C ambulances. We will have a new partnership to improve access to affordable medication. We signed an MOU with respect to pharmaceuticals coming from India. So we will get cheaper, really good medication coming out. Justice. India is committed to supporting the construction of a regional forensic science center and training our professionals in forensic science. This is very important for our fight against crime, exceedingly important. Renewable energy. TNT will join the Global Biofuel Alliance, and a solar rooftop system, I am told, will be installed. I think it's the Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, so with a new energy thrust. In culture and sport, agreements to promote steel pan in India. 1.4 billion people, boy, we just get them to buy 100,000 steel pan from us. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You have to think far, You have to be visionary, but we can make it happen. Steel pan in India. Expanded cultural exchanges. Training for young women cricketers. And for those of you of the Hindu faith have agreed to take young persons to be trained as pundits in India as well. So training for our security forces is also part of it. Local government. India will fund quick impact projects to upgrade roads, community centers, sanitation infrastructure. So go to the budget consultations and put in your requests, please. Community centers, roads, infrastructure. In public administration, TNT will become a regional training hub under the iTech program, with Indian experts providing large-scale training for whom? Our public officers, those in the public service. Foreign policy. Both countries agreed to mutual support at the United Nations, strengthening our global influence. India has agreed to support the Trinidad and Tobago nominee for one of these positions in Paris at 2026, 27, and we will support one of their nationals in 27, 28. So one hand doesn't clap, two hands can always clap. So we will partner at the United Nations to get more done for all of us. These agreements will touch the lives of students. Everybody wins, students. It will touch the lives of patients. Everybody wins. It will touch the lives of public servants. It will touch the lives of athletes. It will touch the lives of every single community and mark the beginning of a new era of strategic cooperation, grounded in shared values and a common vision for our futures. This diplomacy, with results, this is leadership that delivers. When UNC wins, UNC delivers. When we come into office, these were the outcomes of the Modi visit. Maybe they put it up on the screen. It is a lot of good things coming our way. When we came into office, we promised action, not excuse. And in just 2 short months, we have begun to deliver. My colleagues have mentioned some of it, but nothing is wrong. There is no harm in repeating the wins of your UNC government. Amongst our early accomplishments, expanded Children's Life Fund, repeal of the TT Revenue Authority. We installed a new Commissioner of Police. In the past years, those Commissioner of Police were good men, but they would have won Oscar nominations. Because guess why? Acting. We now have a substantive Commissioner of Police, and we congratulate him and look forward to working with the TTPS. You remember at the post-cabinet meeting, I ripped up the WASA document that was going to send thousands of people on the breadline away from jobs. So we rescinded the cabinet decision of the PNM cabinet, and thereby, in that way, we saved jobs. We also prevented increased water rates. Remember that? We initiated reviews on pension delays, judicial backlogs, PBR pass distribution, building rentals, every man, woman, child, and then had a special PBR bus pass. So we have Minister Eli really taking that head on. But we are not stopping. We gave Saddam and his ministry amnesties for companies that were struck off to give them a little time, breathing space, to file their documents in the company's registry. We are not stopping there. As we continue, we advance the crime-fighting laws. I mentioned before the Stand Your Ground and home invasion. We are awaiting the final order from the Office of the Attorney General for scrapping the demerits points system. That should happen within a week or so. Minister Dowlett told you that over 248 schools, as a minister, schools for vacation repairs in this vacation. We have scheduled these during the July-August. We are reviewing the opening of Petrotrin Refinery, and we are pursuing renewable energy projects. I have tasked the Minister of Energy to bring that note to Cabinet this Thursday for approval, to establish a committee to review the reopening of that Petrotrin Refinery. We are strengthening international energy partnerships through high-level delegations on contract renegotiations. We are tackling foreign exchange issues with leakage and forex cartel investigation. We have absorbed, through our Minister of Homeland Security, Minister Alexander, 280 auxiliary fire officers, recognizing their long overdue contribution. We are launching major infrastructure works, including desilting of 250 kilometers of channels. As I mentioned before, we are back to the DB campus to get that going. And when we present the national budget later this year, we'll go even further, unlocking the resources we need to deliver the major transforming projects that people deserve, that you deserve. I cannot let something pass me by, so you'll forgive me if I make just a small reference. My Attorney General told me it's okay, I can talk about the Law Association. So let me talk about them. The Law Association, which is often criticized for being silent, has suddenly found its voice to express concern over what it thinks is an attack on the independence and integrity of the independent bench in the Senate. Where were they when a Prime Minister went at President and put out the merit list? Where was your voice? And let me tell you, our Constitution has nothing as an independent senator. Our Constitution says you have the party senators, so we have the UNC in Parliament, you'll have senators appointed by the UNC. You have the PNM, senators appointed. But where did it get this word independent senator? The Constitution speaks about senators appointed by whom? The President. So they are the President's senators. Don't get fooled up and chained up with this talk, you know. This is the same body remained silent for the last 10 years when the PNM destroyed the sacred core of democratic principles, democratic institutions, and destroyed the rule of law. The fact is that the PNM eat a food, dunce lawyers cannot even file a case, had to file it and strike it out straight away. Hey, the UNC has great lawyers, give them a round of applause. These eat-a-food lawyers have long infiltrated the executive of the Law Association. And it's high time their political hypocrisy and agenda are exposed. People are no longer fooled by greedy, legal, fake elites masquerading as independent voices who are quietly gorging on the treasury by the billions. One wonders how the Council of the Law Association found time to issue such a press release when there are so many other useful things they could have placed for public discussion connected to the matters that they should be interested in. One will recall over the past few years, lawyers have clamored for the council to come on strongly against virtual court hearings, non-functioning court buildings, delays in judgments, and secretive process that its president engaged in for the appointment of recent batch of senior counsel. There were secretive discussions, the same law association. But you know, at times the mask slips, the facade, it slips away, and the average citizen can connect the dots. 6 decades after gaining independence, the public is awakening to the fact that those who claim to be independent are actually reliant on the PNM's favor and will do anything to regain their former status. This pseudo-aristocratic hangover from colonialism, where some believe they can lecture citizens from a position of superiority, is evident in the placement of PNM operatives in supposedly independent institutions. The law says this charade does not fool the population. I told you when I was sworn in, Trinidad and Tobago does not begin and end at the lighthouse. Trinidad and Tobago extends across our beautiful land, our nation. And we, the government you put in place, we will defend each and everyone in this country. I want to tell you what will be happening next. Some more announcements before I take my seat. The natives of our great party will soon meet to decide on the date for the internal election of its political leader. I give you notice tonight. I intend to contest again for the position of political leader. Thank you all very much. I hope you will give me the honor of leading you into this term in government. I'll take you there, and together we'll get things done. So, again, for those who did not hear, maybe turning an open door in the fridge and then closing the door, I intend to contest as political leader of the United National Congress. Any and every member of the United National Congress, you have a right to file a nomination for the position of political leader. If you want it, come and take it. We have been in the process of appointing state boards, slowly but surely. We have to do due diligence. We have all received many, many resumes from many, many people. But we have to do due diligence on persons, which takes time, because we're going to put people to run state boards, state enterprises, very important part of governance in our country. So I appreciate your patience. We are working on it. We're also doing our best to fulfill requests for jobs for suitably qualified persons. But that again, a lot of the enterprises, the hirings cannot take place, so it takes time, as everyone has said. The boards have to go into place, the RHAs, the state enterprises, and then we will advertise and people can apply. So it is not simply a matter of sending your resume to an MP or to a senator or to me. You will have to go through a process, a fair and equitable process. Please remember that. We cannot have attacked the PNM for their eater food people and placing their studios here and there, and then we do the same. So I give you the assurance we'll do the best that we can to have a fair and equitable process for employment. As I close, as we are in this penal secondary school, I want to tell you something. I've asked the Minister of Education to send me a list of what has been described as high-risk schools. I promised you in the campaign that we will send police officers facing this, taking the high-risk schools first. The Minister of Education has sent me a listing of those schools using various criteria from the Minister of Education to determine what is to be described as a high-risk school, using the number of suspensions, using the number of injuries, and so on. So there is a scientific way. You don't just watch a school and call it high risk. There is scientific criteria and data to help us determine. I got that list from the Honorable Minister, and I intend to action my promise by sharing it with the TTPS, so when the school term begins, your children will have the protection of the police officers in those schools. can I announce that on the list sent by the minister, this penal secondary is one of those schools. If the minister didn't tell me the data, I may not have believed it. So we are not targeting schools. We are not targeting children. The Minister of Education, the former one, went on some show and talking about PNM children, which PNM children. In my land, there are no PNM, UNC, any kind of children. They're only children. Only children in my heart, and we will do everything we can to protect them and take care of them. As I conclude, I say, we have begun a journey of restoration, of rebuilding our institutions, renewing our economy, restoring hope to every corner of our nation. The road ahead, my friends, will not be without challenges, but we will face them together with courage, with conviction, and with compassion. 3 years ahead are a journey towards a dream that is Trinidad and Tobago. This dream is our opportunity to reimagine what is possible for our society and redefine our place within it. Our UNC victory has brought hope back to our citizens. And it's upon those hopes and dreams and determination that we will rebuild our society after 10 years of recklessness, arrogance on the part of the last government. We have made it clear that we will not bow to that oppressive style of governance. We are pressing on to the mark of the higher calling, to progress, to prosperity, and to a place where we all win, where all will progress, where we all feel safer, where we all feel more confident to pursue our goals, our dreams, and our ambitions. The days of our nation are still ahead of us. The best days of our nation, they are still ahead of us. And together, we will rise. Together, we will rise. Together, we will rise to meet them. I tell you again, I thank you. God bless you. And always, always remember, you have had leaders before me. You will have leaders after me. But. You will never, ever have a leader who loves you as much as I do. May God bless you. May God bless the UNC. And may God bless our beloved nation. I thank you very much. Get home safe.
Everybody! When UNC win, everybody wins. Everybody's a winner. When UNC win, Trinidad wins. For UNC, everybody wins. Everybody wins. Put your X next to the rising sun. Tell the neighbor, tell a friend, now is the time to rise and shine.